Hello and welcome to the show. It is episode 3. No, it's season 3. Here we go. We've started already. Season 3 of the show, episode number 2. We have quite a bit to get through in terms of news over the next half an hour or so. It's going to be an interesting show. Failsafe Fitness Podcast. Let's get it done. So this week we are going to talk about how to improve your deadlift without exactly deadlifting. We are going to talk about one of the 5 habits to fat loss. If you want the other 4, go and see the blog right now. And we are going to look at putting. Some basics of putting that everybody should be doing when they're playing golf, especially this time of year. Greens a little longer, greens are a little wetter. Getting some of these fundamentals down will make you a better golfer. So as always, my name is Michael Joshua. I am the owner and director of Failsafe Fitness Limited. If you do want any personal training, nutrition and weight management or golf performance over the winter, we have got a lot of things going on. So, biggest news of all golf performance lessons based at Himley Hall Golf Centre or at the home base in Stourbridge are now going to be £10 an hour. That's just £10 an hour. That is anything up to 5 and nearly 10 times cheaper than any PGA Pro in the county. £10 an hour. If you do want a lesson, get in touch, book one, let me know. We will get you booked in. Personal training sessions, £20 an hour. 3 for 2 is available on those as well. Nutrition and weight management, £15 an hour, and 3 for 2 also available on those all the way through November. And don't forget, all lessons have a 90-day lifespan, and you can buy up to 9 at a time. Due to conditions at Himley Hall Golf Centre, unfortunately, we are going to have to delay the sim golf. So it hasn't been cancelled indefinitely, but for the meantime, until the ground firms up, foot traffic across that first hole and onto the driving range is limited to just lessons. So unfortunately, we are effectively cancelling sim golf at Himley Hall Golf Centre. But the caveat to that, if you or any of your mates want to come and play sim golf in Stourbridge, we have £10 an hour. £10 an hour. You can bring up to 4 mates. You can play golf in the comfort and safety of a back garden in a nice safe range net, and you can play any course in the world for £10 an hour. So sim golf is happening, but not at Himley Hall Golf Centre. It is going to be at the home base in Stourbridge. So get in touch to book that if you do want a session. As I say, blog post has gone up as well today. There are 5 habits to master for your fat loss journey. I'm going to sneeze, I think. No, maybe not. One of those we will talk about in just a second. But there's a lot of good information in that blog post. So please, links in the description. Go take a look. It's going to be a good read on the blog, on the website. If you do have any questions or anything you would like more on in terms of personal training, strength and conditioning, fitness, golf performance, failsafefitness@hotmail.com. That's failsafefitness@hotmail.com. And send me your questions and I will get back to you with some information, or I'll save the best ones up for your questions answered show a little bit later down the line. So let's get into the show then. For the people who haven't listened before, this is basically what you get, me rambling in your earlugs for at least the next 20 to 35 minutes. I do throw out some random exercises that you probably should be putting into your training to help you along the way. I'm going to talk about things you should be doing in your nutrition to help you on your journey, and also the golf performance side of this podcast, a passion that has become my job over 2023 and will continue to be so in 2024. If you do like it, please leave a comment, subscribe, and share this show. There are plenty of episodes now for you to go back and have a listen to. Admittedly, probably the sound quality isn't the best. I'm looking to improve that in 2024. Production values are also going to improve for next year as well. As well as you're going to see very, very shortly going up on YouTube and live via Instagram. You're going to be able to watch my journey over the winter. I'm going to try and lose a few kilos, get in the gym and show you exactly how I do things, exactly how I would do things with clients. I'm going to treat myself as a client because I am one. And over the next sort of 12 to 14 weeks, you're going to get to see live sessions, live testing. I'm going to talk you through my training. Whilst I'm doing my training, you'll be able to see that live via Instagram and hopefully some snippets via YouTube as well. So look out for that. I will give you some warning a few hours beforehand on Instagram, Facebook, and all that jazz. So then, let's talk about that nutrition, shall we? Blog post is some nutrition habits for changes in your fat loss journey, and I'm going to pick the one for the show that I think is for me one of the most important, especially if you're starting a big fat loss journey like I'm about to, and you're about to hit the gym again like I'm about to. So a lot of people say burning more calories during the day, adding some more exercise in, some specific muscle building, etc. is great. But I think this is the number one important for me in terms of the 5 habits, and it's sleep. So sleep is so important for fat loss that I would say if you could only do one thing on the list of 5 that are in that blog post, I would prioritize sleeping. It is the most overlooked activity in the modern environment, but the most important. Create a sleep routine and aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Yes, it matters for fat loss. Before you think about taking supplements or trying the next fat loss secret, make sure you have this very basic thing covered. If you need help sleeping, then supplements along the lines of zinc, magnesium, things like that. Turkey sandwiches, great protein source, and the tryptophan in that meat also helps you relax and can help you sleep. And I've said to clients over the last couple of years have been, you need to get enough sleep. If you haven't had 6 hours of sleep the night before, unless you've had a very unstressful day, so if you've had less than 6 hours of sleep, so you've had 5 hours of sleep on a Friday night, you've been out since 1 a.m, you got up at 6 to go to work, you've done a 4 to 8 hour shift, and you've come to me at 6 p.m. on a Saturday evening to work out, I'm probably going to say we're going to take it easy that session, because you're going to be tired, you're going to be grumpy, your body's going to be craving carbohydrates, you're not going to be in any kind of mood to be going through your normal routine. So getting some sleep, minimum of 6 hours, but aim for 7 to 8 hours. And we can track this now. You all have iPhones, you've got apps on your mobiles that can actually record you sleeping. So, we've got no excuse not to track our sleep now. Most of us are wearing some kind of fitness band or watch that's recording our sleep monitoring. And what you need to look at there predominantly during your sleep is you're looking at the way your heart rate should drop and then slowly rise before you wake up. And when you wake up, then it should spike and you're on your way through the day. But if you're finding that through the night your heart rate is spiking and dropping, it could be the temperature of your room. We all know the weather is changeable now. So 1 minute it's blazing sunshine, next minute it's bleeding rain. Next minute it's freezing cold, next minute it's windy. So changes in the night, being the right temperature during the night, can have a big effect on your sleep. But if there's one thing you need to nail, is get enough rest. Your body needs to recover, and if you're going to go on any kind of muscle building, fat loss, doesn't matter what it is, one of the most, other than nutrition itself, getting enough sleep, quality sleep, is number one on that list. And that is going to be your sort of nutrition habit for the week, is get some sleep. Which is counterintuitive. And like I say, best thing to do as well, if you're struggling to sleep, or you're waking up in the middle of the night, or you're having these spikes, one last caveat to that as a nutrition tip: go and get yourself some casein or whey protein, or a high protein dense shake about half an hour before you go to bed, before you go to sleep. Take that, get it down you, and you'll probably find you won't wake up in the night, because your body has enough protein to help you repair whatever damage you've done during the day. So protein shake, plenty of sleep, and track it. If there's any spikes throughout the night, then obviously take the protein shake, monitor it for 7 days, see how you go, and see if those spikes lessen and your sleep improves. If not, then you're going to go to the likes of some zinc and magnesium tablets, just to help you drift off as well, and they're great for sleep and recovery. And those are my tips for your nutrition for this week. Exercise. Now, I know I have a nutrition, I've talked about sleeping, but exercise this week is a staple of all of my clients. Whether you're fat loss, muscle building, endurance, running, playing golf, playing tennis, playing cricket, doesn't matter what you are, the deadlift is one of the most all-encompassing moves you can do. Whether you're doing that with dumbbells, kettlebells, or a barbell, you can hit a plateau. So these two things are going to help you to improve your deadlift numbers, and probably improve your stability through the lift by not actually deadlifting. And the two things are, one is the most simple thing you can do anywhere, whether you're in the house, gym, work, doesn't matter. So it's a plank. We've all seen the plank, whether it be a straight arm plank, bent arm plank, doesn't really matter. Side planks. Planking is going to help create more sort of core and midsection stability. And we've all seen those people who round their backs a lot. You know, they're bent over, and then you know, some people do that, so they're able to get away with that. But as you get older and the weight gets up, unless you've got a stable core, that core is going to create issues. And that's when you get people bending, and they're almost snapping in half, because the sheer volume of weight on the bar, they haven't got the core stability to keep that trunk nice and neutral. So planking is going to help you with your deadlifting. It's going to help with your numbers and help create that stable trunk to give you the ability to pick the barbell up at a heavier weight. The second exercise I want you to do, if you are one of the people that tend to round quite a lot when you're deadlifting, this one is going to be perfect. So it's a front squat, but it's not a front squat from the top down. So normally we unrack it and then we start squatting. This is going to be a dead start squat. So you can do this back squat if you feel that you don't round as much, but I feel the front squat is a much more encompassing, because that keeping that chest high and that trunk stable to lift that weight is the same, and you start at the same position. So you're basically going to start maybe a tad higher than your bottom. So when you squat down with your barbell, as a check, squat down to the barbell, and that next notch up, that's where you want to be. So when you're at the lowest point of your front squat or your back squat, the notches on the rack, that's where you want it, wherever the bar is, you want it one above that, is the easiest way to explain it. So you set your barbell up at the bottom of your squat, one notch above the bottom, and from there, from the bottom, call a dead start. So you're at the bottom of that squat, you're going to take it from the bottom of your squat to the top and back down. It's the reverse of a normal squat. And because if you're in a front squat position, the chest has got to be high, you've got to drive up without pushing forward, because you'll be off balance, very much like a barbell pulling you forward on a deadlift. So dead start front squats and planks are going to help you improve your deadlift without you even noticing it. You're just going to think the numbers are going up, but add a couple of sets of planks, or three to five sets of planks, and 3 to 5 sets of dead start squats, particularly front squats, in my opinion, will help you improve your deadlift. So we're flying through these tips this week. We're pretty much through the show. We've only got the golf to go. But again, little reminder, if you do want your lessons, all your lessons, whether they be at the home base in Stourbridge at Failsafe Fitness Limited, or they're at the Himley Hall Golf Centre in the West Midlands, £10 an hour all the way through November. So if you're struggling off the tee, or you're struggling out of bunkers, you're struggling with your putting, give me a call. We'll have a look at it. We'll see what we can do. As a performance coach, my aim is to get you performing better. I've had several clients this year make massive jumps. One of my clients today, called Akin, has basically jumped from shooting in the 60s, high 60s for 9 holes. He's now down to the low 50s. He's knocked over 10 shots off his scores since he's come to see me. His confidence has got better. He's hitting more fairways. He's putting better. And now we're just working on some bunker play. But we know the UK is very difficult when it comes to bunker play. Wet, hard, sodden sand. Footprints, which are a problem. And we've shown you some techniques of how to deal with that. So drop me an email, give me a ring, book a lesson, we will sort you out. So finally, the golf part of the show, putting. Now, the art of putting, mastering this crucial stroke for golfing success. In the game of golf, pretty much 40 to 60% of your shots are going to be on the green. And putting is often referred to as the art of the game because it requires a delicate touch, precision, understanding of how to read a green, speed control. A well-placed drive and a great iron shot can set you up for success. But if your knees are trembling like a shitting dog from 3 feet or 30 feet, it doesn't matter how good the previous 2 shots were if you're going to 3-putt from inside 10 feet. So the fundamentals of putting are grip, stance, alignment. So, before you master putting, you need to establish a solid foundation of these basics. The grip is the foundation on which your putting stroke is built on. Your hands are the only things that grip onto the putter. And the stroke, whether have got a big arc, so you tend to rotate your shoulders, or whether you're more sort of back and through. You still have an arc, by the way. Oh, I'm straight back and through. You are, but there's still a level of 3 to 10 degrees of rotation when you think you're back and through. When you're really arcing, high arcing, it makes a big difference. Experimenting with grips, whether you're interlocking your hands like you would with an iron, whether you're like me where your hands are, it's really weird because I interlock on my irons and driver. I overlap with my index fingers down the shaft. So my left index finger goes down my right hand and my right index finger goes down the grip of the putter. And that just helps me, it stops me from flicking. Because when I hit my stroke with my putter, if I flick, then I'm basically pointing with my right finger away from me. So if I keep it nice and straight and just rock those shoulders gently, I feel like I can control. So trying different grips, the claw, reverse grip, so the left hand is higher than the right if you're a right-handed golfer, vice versa for the left-hander. Stance. Now, a lot of people, I'm quite short. I mean, at 5'4" and a bit, I'm quite short, so I have quite a short putter. But I tend to have the ball under my left eye. And a lot of videos you'll see on YouTube are where you want to be eyes directly over the ball, which can work for a lot of people. If you're quite tall, you can get over it and you can get through. Well, with me being a little bit shorter, I think if I have the ball dead center of my stance, right in the middle of my eyes, I tend to bottom the putter out. And I really did struggle for a long while pushing everything right or just catching the ground before the ball. So I found with having the ball a little bit further forward and under my left eye, as a right-handed golfer, it'd be a right eye as a left-handed golfer, having the ball a little bit further forward, I was able to close the face better, keep a straighter putt, and also kind of hit up on the ball. So you want to get the ball rolling with a, end over end. And I found with the ball being right in the centre of my eye line, it had a big skip. So having the ball a little bit further forward in my stance under my left eye, it's only an inch or half a ball, but that half a ball allows the ball to start dead rolling quicker towards the hole. And it helped me with my pace control. So stance, where the ball is, standing a little bit higher, standing a little bit closer, standing a little bit further away. Different putters require different stances. Lie angle can be a big thing as well. So just play with it. Play with whatever you feel comfortable. Something might not feel comfortable, but might get you better results. And then if you stick with it, that becomes the norm and you can get that right. Alignment is another thing. Alignment is the third sort of golden rule. So being able to read, where your body is in space and time. I've seen a few people this year who think that they've got their putter and their feet and their shoulders lined up square to target when they're putting, when actually the putter is facing left of the target, shoulders are facing right of the target, and feet are at the target. And I've taken a picture of these alignment rods. I've got them to freeze and put the alignment rods down, took a photo, and they've gone, wow. And that's why they're pulling or pushing, hooking and making some really poor strokes. But once that you're shown and you've got someone to show you that, you can work on it and you can get your alignment fixed. So using alignment aids, whether it be sticks or T-pegs or one of those putting mirrors, they can be invaluable in terms of how you're aligning your body to the putt. The other two things that are necessary for being a good putter: green reading. Now, understanding slopes and breaks. Green reading is one of the most important skills as a golfer. So being able, when you're walking up the fairway, a visual inspection of where the bunkers are, whether the front edge, the lie of the land around it, the land and water. We all hear this theory that mainly if there's water on a hole or near a green, the ball's going to want to go towards that water. Can be the case in a majority of the cases. The hole is designed so the water drains into that lake, so the ball is going to want to go that way, and the slope on that green is going to want to go that way. So as you're walking up to that green, you need to look at that green and visualize it and say, okay, my ball's at the back, there's water to the left, so that ball is going to want to go that way. So visual inspection with your eyes and subtle changes to the elevation. High point, low point. Feeling the slope with your feet is also good. We've all seen people who feel, a lot of the pros now are feeling with their feet which foot's lower than the other, where they're going to break. And obviously the more advanced things, plumb bobbing, your putter, things like that can have a big influence on you visually reading the greens. And then the final thing is speed control. So hitting putts with the right pace. I've got a nice drill for this. I know a lot of my clients have seen me do it. So what I do, I take 8 to 12 tee pegs. I put them out on the putting green surface. So putter grip the part as a square. I probably pick one left hand where the holes are. I try and go and work where no one is. And the first one tends to be about 6 to 8 feet away, and then 5 to 8 feet away, depending on how much room I've got. And in between, I make these squares with the tee pegs, and I put from square to square, square to square, and back again, square to square, square to square. So even if the surface isn't level, so you might be putting uphill and then a right to left, when you're putting back, it's a left to right and downhill. So you're working on everything. You're working on pace control, 6 to 8 feet, and then you're working on 3 to 5 feet. So you're just building a feel for pace. And if you're getting it within a putter's grip width, if you can get all 3 of those balls into that square, they're going to be gimmies when you're playing match play. So it makes you concentrate on a square around the hole and not the hole itself. The longer the putt, the more speed you need to hit. Slope of the green, obviously, uphill, downhill, left to right, right to left. And break of the green, how severe is that slope? And being able to read this and doing that drill is going to help you become a better putter. So yeah, I hope there's something in there for everybody. A little drill to help with your pace, being able to read your slopes, playing with your grip. Most importantly, golf is fun. And putting can be the one thing, apart from off the tee. I think mostly this year a lot of people have struggled with off the tee, then putting, and then chipping. I've been a short game coach for a couple of years now. And I think a lot of people who've come to see me have seen massive improvements in the way that they chip. And now using the drills I've given them, the ones that I've mentioned in this podcast, they've improved their putting as well. And the 4-ball thing you can do in your hole, you can do in your lounge, you can do it in your back garden if your garden's flat enough. 8 golf balls or 8 tee pegs, make yourself a little square, put into it. It's easy peasy. But putting is 40 to 60% of your round. And if it's 60% of your round, you need to get it to 40% of your round. And if you're shooting 100 and putting is 60% of your strokes, and you can take 20% of them away, you've gone from being a guy that shoots 105 to 95 to a guy that's shooting high 70s, low 80s. And that's by just fixing one part of your game, which is your putting. As I say, if you found anything interesting in this podcast, please share it. Like, subscribe and share. All the links are in the description. If you do want any performance coaching, it's £10 an hour at Himley Hall Golf Centre. £10 an hour if you want to come and do some simulator golf at the Failsafe Fitness Home Lab. Personal training, nutrition and performance coaching and strength and conditioning coaching, 3 for 2, £20 an hour. Nutrition coaching, £15 an hour. 3 for 2 is also available on that. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see you again next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.